Hello, and welcome to the Kink Perspective. My name's Chris. I'm a psychotherapist and consultant. On this episode, I'm going to discuss BDSM and aftercare. More specifically, what aftercare is, the necessity of it, the types of aftercare there are, and whether or not everyone needs or even wants aftercare. While there's a lot to cover on the subject, I will try to provide this overview in a more concise manner. There are varying opinions on whether or not aftercare is or is not even required. While I personally believe and have negotiated into my own terms with partners I've played with in the lifestyle, I've discovered that over time, that not everyone wants or requires the practice of aftercare. While I don't want to stray too far off topic, it is important to note that aftercare should always be discussed with anyone getting involved in BDSM, especially with new practitioners or someone even returning to the lifestyle after a long absence. So what exactly is aftercare? Aftercare, simply put, is the time you and your partner take after a scene to recover and also see and check in on each other's emotional and physical needs. The care is usually focused on the submissive the majority of the time. This is the person who's receiving the stimuli during the BDSM scene. However, it's also important to remember it can also be performed on a dominant as well. Certain role plays and kinky acts can both be physically and psychologically draining. So this is the real time for relaxing, getting back to reality, coming down from the scene, and making sure we do so in kind of a step-by-step manner. We need to remember, it's as much about physical comfort as it is emotional support. The after effects of a long and intense scene can range from cuts, marks, bruises, to stress and discomfort following the drop from an intense surge of endorphins and other neurochemicals. So taking time for care is highly essential. The first step in aftercare is to carefully move the partner that's going to be pampered and taken care of to a warm and relaxing setting, especially away from the area that you were just involved in your scene or your play. Your partner's state of mind during BDSM play, and especially thereafter, aren't always set in our normal time reality. We start to float, we start to imagine and even transcend ourselves. For this reason, and others, gentle touching, soft whispers of positive praise and affirmation help to slowly bring these people back down to reality without shocking their system. So why is this type of care needed and why is it necessary? Our fantasies don't necessarily correlate with who we are in our regular day-to-day lives. While we may not want our partner to dress as a demanding dominant in boots with a whip, who exacts humiliating punishments or locks us in chastity devices for kinky play day in and day out, that's not how we want them to treat us during the normal course of our relationship in our day-to-day lives. Aftercare truly functions as a recalibration of the normalcy of your relationship, transcending from your time in BDSM back to the normalcy of your regular day-to-day life. There can be a physical toll on your body as well. Many people seem to compare this sensation immediately following a scene or play, sometimes called or known as subdrop, though it happens to tops as well, as being similar to sensations felt after intense athletic performances when all of that adrenaline and those endorphins seem to wear off. As the rush of endorphins, coupled with the potential physical exertion that we're starting to feel after a scene or after an intense play session, they can start leaving you feeling weak at the knees, tired, dazed, slightly confused. More so, you might even be a little bit dehydrated depending on how long and what the intensity of your scene even was. So now we have to consider what types of aftercare are going to be appropriate, and that's also going to depend highly on the person who's receiving them and also on the person who's giving them. Aftercare can be generally put into two types of categories. First is physical, and second is the emotional support. Physical aftercare includes things such as helping remove paraphernalia like blindfolds, rope, handcuffs, restraints, or other bondage equipment. Getting your partner something to eat or drink, because you have to keep in mind that their blood sugar levels might drop, and those are important to pay attention to, especially if somebody already has some health conditions that you need to be aware of. You may need to provide them a blanket to keep warm, or conversely, to remove some clothing if they're too warm, depending on the time of the year that you might be playing or conducting a scene at. Some others might require some kissing or caressing a certain part of their body, or specifically to the area that might have been marked during play, and providing affection for that person in a comfortable and a quiet place. One other thing you could try, an intimate massage. It can be a great way to connect with the person while offering the comforting touch, using something like a warm massage oil that can soothe both your muscles, the skin that you were engaging with. For example, if you were doing impact play, you could take a bath or a shower together. It's also great. It serves as a practical way to clean up the mess that you've made, as well as getting a little bit more intimate and relaxing inside of the moment. Another technique you can do is cuddling. Cuddling is known to have positive effects for your body and your relationships, so naturally, it's a great form of aftercare. Cuddling helps us release the hormone oxytocin, which can reduce stress and increase intimacy. Plus, cuddling is a low-energy activity, and that can soothe the submissive on the receiving end of humiliation or impact play. And we also know that after a while, sometimes laying down together just feels nice. Something else to keep in mind, rehydration. Rehydration is something to think about after a session or a scene, especially one that's been quite intense. It's important to drink a lot of water before and even after the scene. You might even want to consider having something with electrolytes in it, such as Gatorade. But just make sure someone can have these things and discuss with them prior. The benefits of staying hydrated are plentiful, especially after physical activity. Some folks like to snack on some sort of comfort food, so think of chocolates, little crackers, or cookies. Keep your cupboards full with some of the treats that people like to eat and enjoy. On the other side of this, we need to look at emotional aftercare. Emotional aftercare involves discussing the scene with your partner, how you both felt about it, the good, the bad, the indifferent. This is an integral part for both of you, ensuring that you each understand your needs, your expectations, and what you even thought or felt about the scene you just conducted. You also may want to give your partners assurances about their kink, reminding them that nothing they did or what they enjoy makes them weird or perverse. Making a conscious point to continue this conversation a couple of days or even a week after your scene has ended allows you both to be aware of any negative feelings that might have lingered or have surfaced, and can also serve to make you excited about the next time you get together. When you're discussing the scene afterwards, this becomes a great way to do a straightforward check-in with one another. After some time has passed, you can talk about what you've loved, what you liked, if there's anything you didn't like or you'd like to improve on. You got to remember, communication is the key to a relationship. And the more you know about what you both like or dislike, the more you can improve, so the next time can be even more enlightening for the two of you. So you might want to ask each other, what was your favorite part about the scene that you just did? Well, I really enjoyed this part, but I don't really want to do that part again. Or, I didn't like this, but I like that, so can we try it a new way? Can we even go over the scene? I want to know more about what you like and what you didn't. These become affirming questions after the fact, and I don't really recommend them during the scene because that takes away from the spontaneity of it all. But after the fact, so you can check in with each other and confirm and validate each other's feelings. Another thing to consider is reassuring someone. Affirming your partner that they're loved, that they're valuable, that they're a special and wonderful person is a fantastic way to partake in aftercare. If the relationship is a little less serious, it's always a good idea to praise their performance, to tell them how attractive you find them or how much you enjoyed spending time with them. So now, let's take a look at one subject that seems to be a little bit of contention. Does everyone need aftercare? Some people might be completely okay without aftercare, or you may prefer to be left alone rather than kissed or cuddled. It's really important to negotiate aftercare before getting started. If you're just starting out in the BDSM lifestyle and you're not sure what kind of aftercare you or your partner may need, discussing those feelings after the scene serves as a jumping off point for the care you or your partner would like to receive or experience in days to come. Looking up and researching what aftercare is highly crucial. It's also about learning your roles as a dominant, what types of aftercare to provide, and as a submissive, what type of aftercare to expect, what you might like. Think about if you've never been involved in BDSM and you've watched a scary movie and how it made you feel, or you broke up with someone and what your favorite comfort food was. Well, it's not going to exactly be on par with the experiences you'll have at the end of a scene. It will give you some sort of guidelines in an area that will allow you to understand what your comfortability will be and what you might be looking for. Additionally, many people assume that aftercare is exclusively the right of a submissive, that a dominant must only provide for a submissive. To be honest with you, that just simply isn't true. Someone in a dominant role may experience the same type of drop from the physical exertion as a submissive has, and similarly, they can desire the emotional connection that reestablishes the normal, the loving and affectionate roles of your relationship, that they may need to bring them back down and base them in reality. There's no one great way to provide or receive aftercare. The only real guideline is to be open with one another, accepting, attentive to each other's needs, understanding their emotional and physical needs, and understanding and being in tune with your partner, while also making sure that your own needs are met as well. Again, I can't stress this enough. This comes through communication and understanding, and a little bit of effort on your part. Learning again, and I can't stress this enough, about your roles and understanding what goes on and transpires in a lifestyle, especially as the scenes you get involved with become that much more intense. So some final thoughts on aftercare, at least from a dominance perspective, and as a person in general. Whether you're submissive, slave, pet, dominant, top, mistress, dominatrix, findom, you might find yourself needing aftercare from time to time. You're only human. It's not just the exclusive right for us to look after our submissives from a dominant to submissive perspective. Dominants need to be looked after as well. You can and you should ask, especially when you need aftercare. It's okay to turn to your partner and tell them you need to be looked after. It goes without saying, you probably don't want to engage with anyone who isn't prepared to provide aftercare if it's something that you require. Although what that care looks like and how much energy it requires varies from dynamic to dynamic and person to person. So when you're negotiating these things, make sure that you keep them in mind, what you want and what's important to you. Some people will make a point of writing aftercare into their BDSM contracts formally, while others just discuss it. For some, aftercare comes naturally. The more you get involved in the process of aftercare with your partner, the more depth you will add to your dynamic relationship, because nothing is better than caring and protecting that person that we choose to be with. Until next time, be safe and stay kinky.